Hello and welcome to Monday's live stream. I thought I'd go a little bit topical on this one. Can everyone hear me okay? That's the first thing. But yes, the topic of this video, it's the Volkswagen ruling which happened today. It was in the media just a few hours ago, and basically it's about Volkswagen losing a landmark case in Germany about Dieselgate. I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it as well, and then I'll read a bit of it out for you. This is the... There you go. This is, like I said, about the Dieselgate case, and it basically says here that the ruling sets a benchmark for about 60,000 other cases in Germany. Germany's highest civil court has ruled that Volkswagen must pay compensation to a motorist who had bought one of its diesel minivans fitted with emissions cheating software. So this, I think, has significant implications. Let me read a bit more for you. The plaintiff will be partially reimbursed for his vehicle, with depreciation taken into account. Volkswagen said it will now offer affected motorists a one-off payment. The amount will depend on individual cases. Now, of course, this is in Germany, and we are in the UK, and like everything in the UK, we're way behind. I mean, America have made Volkswagen pay up an absolute fortune years ago. We have done nothing. However, there is something which means there is a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because very recently, and I'll put this up as well, let me just get that up for you, here you go. This is from April, just last month. UK drivers win first round in Volkswagen Dieselgate case. Thousands of UK motorists have won the first stage of a High Court action against Volkswagen over the installation of emissions cheating devices in its diesel vehicles. So something is happening in the UK, and he goes on to say that it follows a preliminary hearing in December when the court was asked whether software installed in the cars was a defeat device under EU rules. In a judgment on Monday, Mr. Justice Waxman ruled that it was. This is my favourite bit. Volkswagen said it was disappointed and it may appeal. A spokesman for the German car maker said, "To be clear, today's decision does not determine liability or any issues of causation or loss for any of the causes of action claimed. These remain to be determined by the court as the case continues." So far, the group has paid out 26 billion worldwide. It's amazing, isn't it? Every other court seems to be finding them basically guilty of this Dieselgate allegation. But in the UK, it's like, oh, no, that wasn't us at all. That's not us in any way, and we don't accept we've done anything wrong. So this, quite frankly, is immensely annoying. I don't know about you, but I have had Volkswagens in the past. I don't think any of mine relate to this. Is there anyone in the live chat right now that does have or did have one of these cheating Volkswagens? Will you perhaps be under maybe getting some compensation? According to this, there are 90,000 motorists in England and Wales who have brought action. But don't forget, that's Audi, Seat and Skoda as well. It is the Volkswagen group, not just Volkswagen cars themselves. Excuse me. So this for me is quite telling, really, quite big. I mean, they've already paid a fortune out, and I doubt anything the UK will do to them will come close to what America have. But it could have implications, and of course, if you are owed some money, then that could go towards something else. Maybe the ID3 that a lot of people are talking about. I wonder if there's going to be some sort of dealings with there. I mean, I'll come to the ID3 later on. For me, the base ID3 is going to be a lot more expensive than people think. Maybe this is a topic for Wednesday's video, but I think the ID3 will be 26 grand upwards. And that's before you start adding on options. And Volkswagen always do this. I've got a friend in Germany. He's a YouTuber and a motoring journalist. He's from Germany. He lives there. And he has told me many times himself that Volkswagen always do a really good initial price. But then, when you add the few options that you would expect to be standard on any car, it then ups the price to a point where it's basically the same as anyone else. So I believe that the ID3 will be more expensive, but again, maybe that's something for another video. So what do you think? I mean, has this affected you at all? Does it annoy you? It annoys the hell out of me. I mean, again, I'll go back to that. Volkswagen basically are saying it's nothing to do with us. We've done nothing wrong. What was the exact phrasing? To be clear, today's decision does not determine liability or any issues of causation or loss for any causes of action claimed. I mean, that's basically a kick in the teeth, isn't it, to UK Volkswagen Group owners? Should people like the ID3, even though it's coming from a company who's basically lied and cheated its way through selling your cars for years? I think the ID3, going back to that just for a second, the ID3 launch will be about 36 grand, which is about right for a car of that size and, as in battery size and range and whatnot. So is anyone in the live chat actually thinking about getting one? Have you put an order on one? Does this change anything? I mean, does anyone think that we should be annoyed at Volkswagen to a point where you don't buy anything from them, boycott them? Maybe. I mean, that's a bit harsh, but it's a big thing that they've done. They have literally cheated, and if you or I had done anything like that, we'd have been dragged over the coals, and that would be it. Nothing would have happened other than bad things to us, because we're poor little guys and Volkswagen are big. Excuse me. So yeah, has anyone in the chat, my new stand by the way, has anyone in the chat got any ideas or thoughts or ID3 reservations? I'd like to hear about that one. As far as this goes, I personally think that if I just come back to this on the screen for you, the Volkswagen losing the landmark German Dieselgate case. As I said, this was earlier on today, and I think it does have implications. I think this will affect Volkswagen. I mean, it's not going to make them bankrupt or anything like that, don't get me wrong. It's not going to take them under. If America, with their significant fine and forcing them to spend money on the electric cars, that's not going to make them go bust, then this won't either. And as I said, it's a massive group. So we're looking at Seat, Audi, Volkswagen and Skoda, of course. Right, in the chat now. Volkswagen Group are a disgrace, and it's about time they get, and then there's a symbol of a hammer. Hammered, I'm guessing, and I agree. It's one rule for one and one for another. It's similar to politics right now, isn't it? If we do something wrong, we will get fined, arrested, take your pick. If they do something wrong, who knows? Right, forget ID3. E-Up is really good and cheap. Yes, but the ID3 is a different kettle of fish. However, on the E-Up, I wouldn't buy a Volkswagen E-Up, because for £3,000 less, you can buy basically an identical car, but with a Skoda badge on it. Literally the same car. Interior, exterior, just cosmetic differences in the panels, and it's £3 grand cheaper. So I think I would go for that over the E-Up. Mercedes are under investigation now, apparently. Wow. Is this a German thing? It seems so. I've not heard that actually, but I would have thought they'd have been caught out by now. I had the 1.2 Polo affected by Dieselgate for 3 years of ownership. Had the upgraded software after a lot of pressure from Volkswagen. I had the engine remapped for £200 after finding out that Volkswagen upgraded. Right, so what, you paid that for yourself? So, well, you obviously had one. A 1.2 Polo, did they do a 1.2 diesel? EVM, do you know yet if you're going to be giving access to ID 3 and 4, part of the media? Who knows? I mean, at the moment, even the press teams are on kind of a lockdown. Not a lockdown, but they're not really responding at the moment. And of course, the press fleets are on lockdown. So, yeah, I only know of one car, or should I say a van, an electric van that I'm getting, and that won't be till August. So who knows? If Volkswagen see me as part of something, then maybe. I am the second biggest electric vehicle channel in the UK, apparently. But after this, maybe I should have arranged that before I did this video. We'll just have to see. What about Hertz going bust? Going to be loads of cheap cars on the market could wreck new sales. Have Hertz gone bust? I didn't know that. The rental car Hertz has gone bust, really? Well, I mean, yeah, that's going to happen to a lot of companies, not just rental companies, just companies in general. We're in for a real a world of hurt, as in, economically, for a long time to come. So, yeah, potentially cheap cars on the market. I don't know, because there's not a lot of people out there that could get one. Yeah, maybe. I mean, there could be people defaulting on payments, companies going bust. I'm not sure how many cars Hertz own, but it might be a lot for a company, but ultimately not a lot in the grand scheme of things. So we'll just see. Keep an eye on the used market, I suppose. Don't forget the 10% import duty on cars from Europe from next year. That is true, yes, because they haven't sorted out the Brexit thing. Remember Brexit? I mean, they always think that they have to give us something to worry about. And of course, with this lockdown COVID thing, nobody's even talked about Brexit recently. But yeah, for those that don't know, you get there's a 10% import duty going on all cars coming in from, I think, Europe. I'm not sure if it's externally as well, but yeah. So that's going to mean that all cars that are sent over from Europe are going to go up by 10%, at least for a year anyway. I think that Seat looks better than the Volkswagen ID3. I fully agree. The video I'm doing on Friday is about cost mainly of electric vehicles, all electric vehicles that are coming out this year. And yeah, the Seat Elborn is, I reckon, going to be a couple of grand cheaper than the ID3. It's basically the same car. So you might as well just go for that. Assuming it's it's got good availability, why wouldn't you? Just like the Skoda Citigo over the Volkswagen e-up. I mean, the Golf and the Octavia, very different cars. But the ID3 and the Seat Elborn are basically the same thing, aren't they? Just with different panels slapped on the side. I thought a few manufacturers run the investigation for cheat devices. Entirely plausible and possible, but I haven't heard anything as opposed to anyone else. Mercedes does ring a bell now when someone mentions it, but I would have thought it had been in the news by now a bit more. Agree, Seat looks far sportier. Yep, does for me too. And it's cheaper as well. It's the same motor, same battery size. So I fail to see the point of getting the ID3 when that might be anywhere from $1 to $3 grand cheaper. Hertz UK not affected by the Chapter 11 action in the US. Okay, right. Well, that answers that one then. Doesn't mean they're not in trouble though. So I would imagine that Hertz Europe or even UK are probably different entities to the US version, and they are a big company, so something might happen, a buyout. So yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that one, I suppose. Right, after the upgrade / downgrade of my Passat, my car, the EGR, failed, a higher miles car. The work was completely covered under the warranty given on the Dieselgate fixed and saved me around £1,500 of expenses. But did the EGR valve cause, did their change cause the EGR valve to fail? So I guess what you're saying is you get a better warranty once your car's been in for some sort of remedy for this cheat fix or whatever you want to call it. I have seen a YouTube video, or at least the headline of one, the title, where it said how to score an extra warranty under the Dieselgate problem. So can you elaborate on that, Mr. Westwood, about whether or not you get a better warranty or an extended warranty if you do take it into Volkswagen? Right. So yes, back onto this. For those that don't know, I'll just quickly recap for you. If you're just joining us, Volkswagen have lost the landmark Dieselgate case in Germany, and that basically means that there's, I think it's something like 60,000 people in Europe, well, Germany, sorry, not Europe, can now basically get something out of Volkswagen, which basically means they're going to get some compensation based on the car, the depreciation, things like that. And in the UK as well, about a month ago, I'll put this up on the screen for you. Here we go. Thousands of UK motorists have won the first stage of a High Court action against Volkswagen over the installation of emissions cheating devices in its diesel vehicles. And I'll say this once more because it's my favourite quote from the German car maker. This is after and in response to the UK's initial ruling anyway. To be clear, today's decision does not determine liability or any issues of causation or loss for any of the causes of the action claimed. These remain to be determined by the court as the case continues. It wasn't us, Gov. Even though every other country said it wasn't us. Why there isn't European-wide action on this, it beggars belief, even though we're not really part of Europe anymore. But this started 5 years ago. Hell, before even Brexit was a word. It's like we're toothless compared to the American advertising standards people. Right. Certain cars from outside Europe already carry 10%. I'm fairly certain Tesla import their cars into Europe half finished to get around it. Yes, they do. It's where a car is assembled, not necessarily made. Model 3, the best car you've driven. I'll stick to ID3 and the Volkswagen for now. In terms of, is it the best car I've driven, as in handling that? No. My work colleague had the EGR valve replaced free of charge on his Seat, presumably because of the cheat thing. Was that out of warranty? I thought folks could sell the later Dieselgate affected cars back to Volkswagen, Seat, Skoda, etc. I'm not sure. Is that the case? Has anybody ever done that? Let me know. Excuse me, I'm going to burp. Oh, pardon me. That was a bit louder than I thought. Excuse me. The car was given a warranty of 2 years from the upgrade date for all components related to the emission systems. It was unlimited in nature. Car had around 110,000 miles at the time, so maybe unrelated. Right, so it's already cost them a little bit, but minute amounts. I mean, I think it's cost them 26 billion so far worldwide after this was covered, and presumably most of that came from America, of course, because again, our advertising standards people seems to be toothless, useless, and that's why they're letting the self-charging hybrid thing through, because they don't seem to be given any powers to do anything about it. Volkswagen and Audi covered any engine problems for 2 years and limited mileage after the fix. I know this as I worked for Audi, moving to Merck when garage reopens after lockdown. Right, so okay, so you got 2 years unlimited mileage after the fix, but presumably that was just on affected components. So again, that for me is it's good, but it's not exactly it's a get out of jail free card, isn't it? They've not paid for their blatant lying and cheating, creating a ton of emissions that you said you wouldn't, and cheating to do it. That's not lying. That's cheating. Very different thing. So I still think they got off lightly so far. So fingers crossed, something will happen with this, because it really isn't on. And as I've already said in this video, if we'd have done anything even remotely like that, you'd have been shut down, fined, jailed, who knows? And it's not fair, is it? Just like a certain other person in the media right now doing something that everyone else was told not to. Not sure I like these live videos. I know what you mean. I'm going to have a look and see if it's worth carrying them on. But for me, it's a way of increasing content. Easily increasing content. I mean, for example, I've spent literally 9 hours today doing one video, editing, researching, filming, and it's still not finished. It's a 45-minute job for me, maybe an hour's job. And it's something to do during lockdown. It probably won't, once things get back to normal, whenever that may be a bi-weekly event. I might just do it every week. I might stop it completely. I don't know. It's a trial, basically. So feedback is welcome. And if it's not your thing, then the normal videos on Friday are unaffected. This is every Monday and Wednesday. I'll be doing one on Wednesday as normal, possibly about the ID3. And then back on Monday, I might do a review, whether or not people are happy. Some people will and some people won't, but I need to look at this from a revenue, a views, a subscriber point of view, and see how it works out. Are you planning on getting solar installed? I would love to have solar installed. I always have plans, but not enough money most of the time. But you never know. Watch this space. I'm keen on these live videos because they do go on for a lot longer than the typical one, to keep them as short as possible. So if you're watching this, it's no longer live and you're still with me, then please let me know in the comments below what you think about this Dieselgate scandal. Do you think Volkswagen will have anything done to them, fined, something big anyway, in the UK? Clearly something's happening in Germany. It's already happened years ago in America. Do you think this will be a thing in the UK as well? It's something we're not very good at, is it? Let's face it. Our government doesn't seem to be that bothered when people cheat or do things they shouldn't. Right. Well, you still and will remain for some time part of Europe. Yeah, but you know what I mean when we're leaving Europe. Time for some compensation and get the Volkswagen Golf GTE with it. Isn't the point, though, if somebody's cheated on you, not to go back to them? I mean, the Golf GTE for me is not that. I don't know. I haven't driven the new one. I always prefer the GTI. That was a proper GTI. And if you want something electric, get just the electric Golf, the e-Golf, or in this case, the new ID3. So the GTE is something in the middle, which it's not a plug-in hybrid because it's designed to be a quick plug-in hybrid. So it's not like, it's not all about economy. So I personally think the GTE is it's still rare, and I think it'll hold its value well. But I'm not that fond of it, to be perfectly honest with you. Right, like the live videos, more advocacy and organic. Believe me, it's a lot harder doing it live because you can't edit out all the screw-ups. But yeah, so this is the trouble. If you get half the people saying yes, half the people saying no, what do you do? I don't know. Battery possibly better. Love all the video formats. Well, that's good. Money talks. It absolutely does. As you say, our protection system is toothless. Yep. Doesn't matter what you do, does it? It seems to be in company terms in the UK. All will be forgiven. So yeah, I think it's more of a government. It's a problem with the government, I suppose, isn't it? They need to give them powers. The advertising. It's not the ASA, is it? The Advertising Standards Authority that does it. Someone else. They need to give them more powers. Otherwise, we're not going to have this next time someone else cheats in something. They should all have to pay for everyone to have a new EV that would teach them. Well, yeah, I mean, I quite like the fine that America give them. Was it something like 9 billion or something ridiculous like that or more? But it wasn't a fine. They had to put that into research and development of electric vehicles. And the ID3 and 4 and that platform came about because of age now, because effectively they were forced into it by America. So for me, yeah, I think that is a good idea, because then it's not just a fine that dissipates into the government's coffers, although they're going to need it soon. It goes back into development, as long as it actually does go into development. It's not just a tax write-off or something. I like the live videos, interactive. Yes, I like them. And at the end of the day, I'm doing this video at this channel for fun. I'm not making money from it. I'm making a bit now. It's covering its. If I'm not enjoying doing something on the channel, what's the point? So we'll see. Unless it's a detriment to viewers and subscribers, I'll carry on in some way. The trust building measure covers a total of 11 components within the exhaust gas recirculation system, the fuel injection system, and the emissions after the treatment system. Right, so it's a better warranty for 2 years on those systems I've just mentioned if you have one of these Dieselgate things. Mr. Westwood, again, if you could, is there a year of cars, or is it just too many to list? New electric cars at the moment are a bit too expensive right now, but I would definitely want one. That's where a used one can come in handy. And don't forget, it depends on how many miles you do. If you do a lot of miles, the fuel savings significantly offset, and then some, at least in monthly terms, the cost of an EV. Another vote for the live video. John Westwood again. Lambda probe, temperature sensor, EGR changeover valve, exhaust gas recirculation valve, exhaust gas recirculation pressure, differential sensor and injector, high pressure pump, fuel rail. Right, there's a lot of sensors basically and things covered under this extra warranty, and that's probably the most engine components I've mentioned on this electric vehicle channel in one go. Volkswagen should be fined, but haven't customers already had a form of compensation by paying lower road fund licence than they should have done based on true emissions? I don't think we'll see it like that, because if anything, the government should get that back from Volkswagen. Effectively, Volkswagen cheated the government out of road fund licence, didn't they, for ED? Positive penalties is a great solution. Yeah, I thought the American one was pretty good, to be perfectly honest with you. So, right. Any other questions? A few minutes left, as usual. I want to try and keep this under the half-hour mark, and then it doesn't drag on for too long. Very briefly, if you've just joined us, Volkswagen today, it's been announced anyway, they lost a court case in Germany about Dieselgate, which basically means, and let me just quickly read it out for you once more, Germany's highest civil court has ruled that Volkswagen must pay compensation to a motorist who had bought one of its diesel minivans fitted with emissions cheating software. The ruling sets a benchmark for about 60,000 other cases in Germany. So what we're hoping is that basically this will happen over here, because we have won a court ruling, a preliminary one, about a month ago, to say that it is indeed a cheat device. So obviously they're going to drag this through the courts as long as possible, but fingers crossed it will do something. It will benefit the people who well, quite frankly, cheated. I suppose people aren't really saying, oh well, I'm not that bothered, it doesn't affect me, I wasn't bothered about emissions in the first place. But you should be. I mean, apart from the extra emissions that it's putting out, it's a lie. If they'd have said you've got 150 brake horsepower and in essence you had 125, people would be kicking off a lot more than they are now. Right, what mileage cut-off would you say for EV versus petrol or diesel? I don't know actually. I mean, if you're doing average, you will definitely save money compared to a petrol one, but it depends on how much extra you paid for the EV in the first place. So I don't know. 10,000 upwards, definitely. Any higher than that, basically, the more you do, the cheaper it gets, because fuel is cheaper, a lot cheaper for EVs than ICE. If you could buy a new affordable car, what would you get? Well, I've just bought a Tesla Model 3, so that's one it took me 4 years to save up, so I think there's a lesson there. If you want something hard enough, you'll save up for long enough to get it. But I would say Renault Zoe is probably the best value electric vehicle. In fact, watch the video this Friday that I'll be putting up. If we tried to cheat the government, it would be very different. Absolutely. We would be fined, jailed and all that, as I said. Thoughts on the new Xpeng EVs, possible episode topic. I haven't read up enough about it yet, so I'll have to come back to that another time. Does anyone else here have issues with PodPoint app not reporting charge? Feel free to answer in the comments. Are there any EVs that can get me from London to County Durham on one charge and hopefully be invisible? Yes, there is. There you go. There's the answer to your question. Electrify America is a charge network funded by the Volkswagen US fines. Positive fines. Yeah, that's exactly what we should do here. Can you imagine if we find them even £1 billion and put that into the charging network? That would solve our problems overnight, as long as we didn't give it to the electric highway. The German press reported last month that the appeals could go on for years, so it will likely be a long haul before anyone gets their cash. This is the thing, it drags out. Drags out on and on and on and on, and they shouldn't be allowed to. If only I had a bet on how many components I could get you to say, drat. Ha 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 ha. British courts will insist on individuals going to court rather than a one-for-all approach. Yep. Although I believe it is a class action suit that has just been won. I'll put it up once more for you for those that haven't seen it. That is a class action case or cases that is going in the UK right now. So you never know. They may be a light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, right. Another minute. Any more questions? Be quick. And then I'm going to disappear before we get to the half-hour mark. So on Wednesday, I might look at the ID3 as a topic, because there's a lot of people thinking it's going to be the saviour of the electric vehicle, as in, you know, it's going to be cheap, the people's car, and I'm not convinced. I think it's going to be a lot more expensive than people think it will be, especially given that the government grant has been reduced since it was first announced and will probably continue to do so. All EVs in the past few months since it changed have gone up at least £500, so manufacturers aren't absorbing this, and with the current state, I don't think they're going to be in a place to either, really. I'd rather buy a second-hand e-Golf than an ID3. Well, it's going to be significantly cheaper, and it's a Golf. It's a nice car. So, yeah, I understand what you mean. Right. I've got about 30 seconds left, so I'll see you on Wednesday. And I'll probably, but yeah, let's talk about the ID3. So get your questions ready. Put some in the comments below if you're watching this and it's no longer live. And then next Monday we'll revisit the is this live thing worth doing. So thank you for watching, guys. It's been fun for me. This again is easier. Do you like my new look? I've got a microphone stand with a pop shield. Pop shield. Is it working? So yes, it'd be a shame to stop these live things because I've just got all this stuff now. Got it all set up. So